Hello, explorers of the unexplained. Welcome back to Wonders of the Unknown. Today, we're delving into the fascinating realm of time travel. Imagine having the power to traverse the corridors of time, to see the past and future unfold right before your eyes. But what happens when this power leads to an unimaginable sacrifice? Strap in, as we unravel the compelling tale of a Chrononaut's sacrifice. But before we do, remember to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss an adventure into the unknown. In a world where humanity had unlocked the secrets of the temporal dimension, a profound sense of responsibility loomed. The ability to navigate the river of time was both a gift and a curse. Daniel, a respected physicist and one of the pioneering chrononauts in the time travel program, had always been fascinated by the possibilities and complexities of time travel. Little did he know, his fascination would soon turn into a tumultuous journey. Daniel was an ordinary man in many respects. He enjoyed a quiet life in the suburbs, engrossed in his books and research papers. However, his calm demeanor belied a determined spirit, a man who was always ready to venture into the unknown for the sake of knowledge and humanity. He was the ideal candidate for the mission that was about to be proposed. The scientific community was abuzz with news of an impending catastrophe, a celestial collision that would obliterate Earth. With only a year to prevent the cataclysm, the world's governments decided to use the untested technology of time travel. They needed a volunteer to journey back in time, to a point where they could alter the trajectory of the rogue comet threatening their world. Daniel, understanding the gravity of the situation, volunteered. The thought of traveling back in time was daunting, but he was driven by the will to save humanity. He spent months preparing, both physically and mentally, grappling with the enormity of his task. The night before the mission, Daniel sat alone in his house, staring at the framed photo of his late wife and their young daughter. His heart ached at the thought of leaving her behind, but he was comforted by the knowledge that his actions could secure a future for her. He traced the edge of the frame with his finger, whispering a soft goodbye. As he stepped into the time machine the next day, he was met with a chorus of cheers and well wishes from the control room. The hum of the machine filled the air as the countdown began. As the numbers dwindled, Daniel closed his eyes, steeling himself for the journey that lay ahead. With a flash of light and a sensation of being pulled through a tunnel, Daniel was thrust into the past. Unbeknownst to him, he was about to find himself caught in a paradoxical loop, forced to relive the same events over and over again. But for now, Daniel had a mission to accomplish, and he would give it his all, no matter the cost. Daniel's first step out of the time machine was met with the familiar yet alien sight of a world from the past. He marveled briefly at the quaint architecture, the old-fashioned vehicles, and the more relaxed pace of life. It felt surreal, like stepping into a history book. He was in the 1960s, the era identified as the best time to intercept the trajectory of the comet. He successfully infiltrated the space research organization of that time, utilizing a forged identity and a set of skills he had been trained in for this mission. He had to convince the organization to adjust the course of a space probe which, in the original timeline, had an unassuming flyby with the rogue comet. However, just as he was making headway, he experienced a sudden jolt. It was as if the world around him shook and reset, and he found himself stepping out of the time machine again, back to the moment he first arrived. Bewildered, he realized he was trapped in a temporal loop. Despite the shock, Daniel quickly adapted, using his knowledge from the previous loop to expedite his progress in the organization. However, the jolt happened again, and he was back where he started. Each loop was identical. No matter what he did, the timeline always reset at the same point, just before he could enact the change. With each iteration, Daniel grew more desperate. He tried everything he could think of, different strategies, varied interactions, even attempting to sabotage the loop itself. But every time, he would find himself back at the start, with the world none the wiser to his efforts. Daniel began to question his sanity, the endless cycle wearing on him. But a part of him refused to surrender. The thought of his daughter growing up in a world destined for destruction fueled his resolve. He was stuck in a paradox, but he was not without hope. He knew he had to break free from the loop, but it was becoming increasingly clear that doing so would require a sacrifice he had not anticipated. In between the loops, Daniel's mind raced. The paradox he was stuck in didn't make sense. Every theory he had learned, every simulation he had undergone never suggested this could happen. He tried to break it down logically, to find a pattern, a loophole that would help him escape. It was during one of these introspective sessions that he noticed a detail he had previously overlooked. It was a subtle thing, a seemingly insignificant moment right before the loop reset. Every time, without fail, there was a tiny glitch, a brief flicker of something that seemed out of place. It was so small, so quick that he hadn't noticed it before. Realizing this was his only lead, Daniel focused on the glitch. He began to study it, making careful observations each time the loop reset. He noticed that it always occurred when he was about to make the crucial adjustment to the space probe's trajectory. Was it a reaction to his actions? Or was it a clue, a hint of what he needed to do to break free? His training had included a theoretical understanding of paradoxes and the inherent dangers of time travel, but it was all abstract, all hypothetical. Now, he was living it, and the reality was a lot more complex and a lot less predictable than any of the theories suggested. Daniel began to understand that the paradox was not a trap but a test. It was as if time itself was challenging him, making him prove that he deserved to change the course of history. And to do that, he would need to make a choice, a sacrifice. He realized that the glitch was a fracture in the loop, a weak point that he could exploit. But doing so would mean staying behind when the loop reset, effectively sacrificing himself to change the past and save the future. As he stood before the controls of the space probe, the weight of his decision bore down on him. To save his daughter, to save humanity, he would have to give up his existence in the timeline he knew. The realization was as terrifying as it was heartbreaking. But as he looked at the flickering lights of the control panel, his resolve hardened. He was a chrononaut, a time traveler, and he was ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. Loop after loop, Daniel found himself standing before the controls of the space probe. The glitch, that tiny flicker, was there every time, a small anomaly within the vast expanse of the repeating paradox. It was his only way out, the only chance to break the cycle and save humanity. He had pondered the decision endlessly, the choice he was forced to make. He understood the magnitude of his situation. If he chose to exploit the glitch, he would be erased from the timeline he knew, forced to live a solitary existence in a reality where he had never been born. He would save his daughter and humanity, but at the cost of everything he knew and loved. Yet, if he didn't, the loop would continue indefinitely, the catastrophic event repeating over and over again. The world he loved, the daughter he cherished, would cease to exist. It was a fate he couldn't bear to contemplate. He looked at the flickering lights on the control panel, each one representing a life he could save, a future he could preserve. He thought of his daughter, of the smile that lit up her face whenever he returned from a mission. He thought of the people of Earth, oblivious of the impending doom, living their lives in the comfort of their normalcy. He knew then, with a certainty that banished all doubts, what he had to do. With a final, resolute glance at the holographic image of his daughter, he reached out and manipulated the controls, exploiting the glitch. The world around him trembled as the paradox fractured, a wave of energy cascading outwards. Then, as the loop reset, he was left behind, alone in the vortex of time. He had made his choice. He had made his sacrifice. The loop was broken, the catastrophic event averted. Humanity was safe, his daughter was safe. But Daniel, the courageous chrononaut, was lost to time, his existence a poignant echo in the annals of humanity's survival. It was the chrononaut's sacrifice. And it was a price he was willing to pay. Time moved on, the catastrophic event never came to pass, and humanity continued to thrive, oblivious of the sacrifice made to preserve their existence. To them, it was just another day, just another moment passing in the grand timeline of history. Yet for Daniel, trapped in the paradoxical loop of time, it was his victory, his legacy. Back in his timeline, his daughter grew up hearing stories of her brave father, the unsung hero who had ventured into the unknown and never returned. His picture adorned her bedside table, a constant reminder of the man who had loved her more than he loved time itself. As she grew older, she joined the Chrononaut Institute, determined to continue her father's work and perhaps, in the depths of time, find a way to bring him back. In the timeless void, Daniel found a certain peace. He was alone, but he was content. He had saved his world, his daughter, and that was worth more than any personal joy he could have experienced. His existence was a paradox, a timeless anomaly in the ever-flowing river of time. He had become the echo, the guardian of humanity across time and space. Every so often, he would see a flicker, a brief flash of the life he had once known. He would see his daughter, all grown up, working tirelessly in the institute he had once called home. He would see humanity, prospering and evolving, just as he had hoped they would. The echo of his sacrifice reverberated through time, an enduring testament to his courage and love. Daniel, the Chrononaut, had become more than a time traveler. He had become a timeless hero, a beacon of hope in the face of adversity, a symbol of the ultimate sacrifice one can make for the love of humanity. And so, the Chrononaut's sacrifice became a legend passed down through generations, a story told and retold as a reminder of the man who gave up his existence to ensure the safety of humanity. The story of a hero, forever trapped in time, whose love for his world was so profound that he chose to exist as an echo, a whisper in the winds of time. A hero who, despite being lost to time, continued to live on in the hearts of those he saved. And that, dear friends, was the Chrononaut's sacrifice. A timeless hero, forever an echo in the winds of time, yet a beacon of hope for humanity's future. As we end this journey, let's remember the courage and the love that defined this hero. It's a reminder that even in the face of the unknown, humanity can endure and even thrive. If you enjoyed this journey, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with fellow explorers of the unknown. Don't forget to subscribe to Wonders of the Unknown for more fascinating journeys like this one. Until next time, keep exploring, and who knows what wonders we will uncover next.